One of the key outcomes of the international response was the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT, an agreement aimed at preventing the spread of nuclear weapons and promoting peaceful uses of nuclear energy. While not all countries initially signed the treaty, it marked a significant step towards global disarmament efforts. The bombings also prompted a re-evaluation of military strategies and the ethical considerations of warfare. Countries recognized the need for laws and guidelines that would protect civilians in times of conflict, leading to discussions about the rules of war and the importance of humanitarian considerations. The reaction to Hiroshima and Nagasaki's bombings had far-reaching implications, influencing not just military and political policies, but also the global consciousness. The events sparked a debate about humanity's future, the role of science and technology in society, and the moral responsibility of nations to safeguard the planet. As we reflect on the international response to the atomic bombings, it's clear that the legacy of Hiroshima and Nagasaki extends beyond their immediate impact. They became catalysts for change, inspiring movements for peace and disarmament that continue to this day. Chapter 10. Rebuilding Lives. In the years following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the survivors faced the monumental task of rebuilding their lives from the ashes of devastation. The immediate aftermath of the bombings had brought unimaginable loss and suffering, but the long-term effects would continue to challenge the survivors and their families for generations. The health effects of the bombings were profound and far-reaching. Many survivors, known as hibakusha, suffered from injuries and illnesses caused by the radiation. These conditions required medical treatment that was often difficult to access in the years following the war. The survivors bore not just the physical scars, but the emotional and psychological ones as well. They had to cope with the trauma of what they had experienced, the loss of loved ones, and the stigma associated with being a hibakusha. Despite these challenges, the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki showed remarkable resilience. The process of rebuilding the cities began slowly, with survivors taking the lead. They cleared rubble, constructed temporary shelters, and worked tirelessly to restore essential services. Community spirit and cooperation were vital during this time, as resources were scarce and the task ahead seemed insurmountable. The reconstruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was not just about rebuilding buildings and infrastructure. It was about restoring the fabric of the community and healing the wounds of the past. Schools reopened, businesses were established, and parks and memorials were created to honor those who had been lost. The cities were reborn from the ruins, symbolizing hope and the possibility of renewal. The survivors also played a crucial role in educating future generations about the bombings and their aftermath. They shared their stories, not for the sake of reliving their trauma, but to promote peace and ensure that the world would never forget the consequences of nuclear warfare. Museums and peace parks in Hiroshima and Nagasaki became centers for peace education, attracting visitors from around the world. One of the most significant challenges for the survivors and their families was overcoming the stigma associated with being a hibakusha. In the years following the bombings, some survivors faced discrimination in employment, marriage, and other areas of social life. This discrimination was rooted in fear and misunderstanding about the effects of radiation exposure. Overcoming this stigma required education and advocacy, and the hibakusha were at the forefront of these efforts, fighting for recognition and support. The government of Japan and international organizations eventually established programs to provide support to the survivors, including medical care, financial assistance, and acknowledgement of their suffering. These programs were an important step toward addressing the long-term effects of the bombings. But for many hibakusha, the journey toward healing and justice continues. The rebuilding of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the lives of their survivors is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. From the devastation of the atomic bombings, the cities emerged as symbols of peace and resilience. The hibakusha, with their stories of survival and their dedication to peace, remind us of the power of hope and the importance of working together for a better future. Chapter 10. Remembering the Victims. In the years following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the survivors, known as hibakusha, and the families of those lost, found various ways to honor and remember their loved ones. Amidst the rebuilding of their lives and cities, creating memorials and holding ceremonies became vital practices to keep the memory of the victims alive and to promote a message of peace. In Hiroshima, the Peace Memorial Park stands as a poignant reminder of the tragic day. At its heart is the Genbaku Dome, the only structure left standing near the bomb's Hippo Center. Now preserved as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the dome serves as a powerful symbol of resilience. Visitors from around the world walk its grounds in silence, reflecting on the cost of war and the preciousness of peace. Every year on August 6th, the people of Hiroshima gather for the Peace Memorial Ceremony. The city observes a moment of silence at 8:15 a.m., the exact time the bomb exploded. Paper lanterns are floated down the Motoyasu River, each one carrying a prayer for peace and a promise to never forget the lives lost. The sight of lanterns gliding on the water as dusk falls is both beautiful and heartrending, a tribute to those who perished, and a beacon of hope for the future. In Nagasaki, the Peace Park and the Atomic Bomb Museum tell the story of the bombing and its aftermath. The park is home to the Peace Statue, a towering figure with one hand pointing to the threat of nuclear weapons and the other extended in peace. Here, too, an annual ceremony on August 9th brings the community together to remember and to heal. Bells toll and thousands of paper cranes, a symbol of peace and healing, are offered in memory of the victims. Survivors and families have their personal rituals of remembrance as well. Many visit these memorials throughout the year, bringing flowers, incense, and prayers. They share stories of those they lost, not just as a recounting of tragedy, but as a celebration of lives lived. In homes, photographs of loved ones are displayed with honor, and family members tell tales of their courage, their dreams, and their love, ensuring that their memory lives on in the hearts of new generations. Children learn about the bombings through stories from their families, school visits to the memorials, and participation in peace education programs. By understanding the past, they carry forward the legacy of the hibakusha and the message that peace is something to be cherished and protected. The memorials in Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not just about looking back. They are beacons for the future. They stand as a reminder of the horrors of nuclear war and a call to action for the elimination of nuclear weapons. The hibakusha have become ambassadors of peace, sharing their experiences with the world and advocating for a future where no one else must suffer as they did. Through these acts of remembrance and the preservation of memory, the victims of the atomic bombings are honored not just as symbols of a tragic past, but as messengers of hope. Their stories, preserved in the heart of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, continue to inspire those who believe in a world where peace is possible. Chapter 11. Remembering the Victims. In the wake of the atomic bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the cities rose from the ashes, not just to rebuild structures and streets, but also to ensure the memories of the victims and the lessons of those days were never forgotten. Across both cities, memorials and ceremonies became integral parts of the landscape, each telling a story of loss, resilience, and a plea for peace. In Hiroshima, the Peace Memorial Park serves as a sanctuary of remembrance and reflection. At its heart lies the Genbaku Dome, a haunting reminder of the bomb's devastation, preserved in its ruined state. Surrounding it, monuments and memorials spread across the park, each dedicated to the different groups of victims. The Children's Peace Monument, inspired by the story of Sadako Sasaki and her 1,000 paper cranes, symbolizes the innocent lives lost and the dreams unfulfilled because of the bombing. Each year, on August 6th, the city of Hiroshima pauses to honor those who were lost. The Peace Memorial Ceremony is a moment of collective mourning and remembrance. A moment of silence engulfs the city at 8:15 a.m., marking the exact time of the bombing. It's a silence that speaks volumes, filled with the weight of memories and the hope for a future free from such sorrow. The ceremony includes the release of lanterns into the Ota River, a light for every soul that was extinguished, guiding them in peace. Nagasaki, too, has its spaces of remembrance. The Peace Park stands as a testament to the city's commitment to peace and reconciliation. Central to the park is the Peace Statue, a figure that symbolizes the dual realities of the threat of nuclear war and the enduring hope for peace. The Nagasaki Atomic Bomb Museum offers a place for learning and reflection, detailing the day of the bombing and its aftermath, ensuring that the stories of survivors and the lessons learned are passed on. On August 9th, Nagasaki's Peace Memorial Ceremony mirrors the reflective, somber tone of Hiroshima's, with prayers, music, and a moment of silence. Here, too, the community comes together, bound by shared loss and a collective determination to advocate for a world without nuclear weapons. Beyond these public commemorations, personal acts of remembrance occur daily. Survivors and family members visit these memorials to offer prayers, flowers, and sometimes folded paper cranes, a symbol of healing and hope. For many, these rituals are a way to connect with lost loved ones, to share moments of joy and sorrow, and to pass on stories of endurance and strength to younger generations. Families keep the memories of their lost loved ones alive in their homes. Photographs, personal belongings, and stories become sacred treasures, a bridge to the past. These stories, often shared around the dinner table or during family gatherings, become lessons of resilience, courage, and the preciousness of peace. Education plays a crucial role in remembrance. Schools in Hiroshima and Nagasaki incorporate peace education into their curriculum, ensuring that children understand the history of their cities, the consequences of nuclear war, and the importance of peace. Visits to the memorials and museums are an essential part of this education, providing a tangible connection to the past. The memorials and ceremonies in Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not just about looking back, they're about looking forward. They stand as reminders of the devastating consequences of nuclear war, urging current, and future generations to pursue peace and disarmament. The stories of those who were lost and those who survived continue to inspire people around the world to work towards a future where such tragedies are never repeated. Chapter 12. Lessons Learned. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are chapters in history that brought unimaginable sorrow and destruction. Yet, from these dark moments, powerful lessons have emerged, guiding humanity towards a future where peace and understanding prevail. The value of peace. The first and most profound lesson is the value of peace. The survivors, with their stories of loss and resilience, have become ambassadors for peace. They remind us that peace is not merely the absence of war, but a precious state that must be nurtured and protected. Their experiences teach us that conflicts should be resolved, not through violence, but through dialogue, understanding, and cooperation. The moral implications of nuclear warfare. The bombings highlighted the devastating moral implications of nuclear warfare. They showed the world that nuclear weapons possess the terrifying ability to annihilate entire cities, erase history, and cause suffering for generations. The moral question arises: should humanity possess weapons capable of such destruction? The consensus among survivors and peace advocates is a resounding no. The moral imperative to prevent such tragedies from occurring again has fueled global movements for nuclear disarmament, pushing for treaties and agreements that aim to reduce and eventually eliminate these weapons. The importance of remembering history. Remembering the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki teaches us the importance of history. By keeping the memory of these events alive, we honor those who were lost and those who survived. History serves as a mirror, reflecting the consequences of our actions and the paths that led to them. It is a reminder that the choices we make today shape the world for generations to come. To forget history is to risk repeating it. Educating for a better future. Education plays a crucial role in passing on the lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. By incorporating these stories into curricula around the world, we can educate future generations about the horrors of nuclear warfare, the importance of peace, and the value of human life. Education fosters empathy and understanding, essential components for building a peaceful world. The power of unity and hope. Finally, the stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki teach us about the power of unity and hope. In the aftermath of the bombings, communities came together to rebuild their lives and cities. This unity in the face of adversity reminds us that together we possess the strength to overcome even the greatest challenges. Hope, too, is a powerful force. It drives us to imagine a better world, to work towards it, and to believe in the possibility of change. Chapter 13. The Power of Storytelling. In the aftermath of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the world was left with a legacy of stories. These stories, filled with pain, loss, resilience, and hope, have found their way into art, literature, and popular culture, becoming powerful tools for healing, education, and promoting peace. Art as a reflection of the soul. Artists from Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and around the world have used their talents to capture the essence of the bombings and their aftermath. Paintings and sculptures depict the raw emotions of the survivors, the physical devastation of the cities, and the deep desire for peace. These works of art serve as visual narratives, compelling viewers to reflect on the impact of nuclear warfare and the preciousness of peace. Exhibitions in museums and galleries offer spaces where people can connect with these stories, fostering empathy and understanding across cultures. Literature, a window to the heart. Writers, too, have been inspired by the stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Novels, poems and memoirs penned by survivors and subsequent generations explore the human side of the tragedy. They delve into the lives of those who lived through the bombings, offering insights into their struggles, fears, and hopes. This literature serves as a bridge, connecting readers to the experiences of those who witnessed the unimaginable. It teaches the value of life and the importance of peace, urging readers to consider the consequences of war. Popular culture, stories for all. The stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki have also permeated popular culture, reaching wide audiences through films, music, and theatre. Movies and documentaries present the historical facts, combined with the emotional depth of personal stories, making the lessons of the bombings accessible to people of all ages and backgrounds. Music, with its universal language, conveys the emotions of the bombings and the longing for peace, touching the hearts of listeners around the world. Theatre productions, reenacting the events and aftermath, invite audiences to witness the human dimensions of history, creating a shared space for reflection and dialogue. The role of storytelling in healing. Storytelling has played a crucial role in the healing process for survivors and their families. Sharing their experiences allows them to process their trauma, commemorate those they lost, and connect with others who have faced similar pain. For the wider community, these stories foster a collective memory of the bombings, ensuring that the lessons learned are not forgotten. They serve as a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the capacity for individuals and communities to rebuild and find hope in the darkest of times. Education and the future. In educational settings, the stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are invaluable resources. They offer lessons on history, ethics, and the consequences of our actions. By incorporating these stories into curricula, educators can inspire students to think critically about war, peace, and the role of individuals in shaping a better world. The narratives of Hiroshima and Nagasaki empower young people to become advocates for peace, armed with the knowledge of the past and the determination to prevent future tragedies. Chapter 14. A Message of Peace. In the years since the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, these cities have transformed from symbols of devastation to beacons of hope and peace. Central to this transformation has been the emphasis on peace education programs, which aim to teach the lessons of the past while fostering a commitment to a peaceful future. The heart of peace education. Peace education in Hiroshima and Nagasaki goes beyond the mere recounting of historical events. It delves into the human stories behind the bombings, focusing on the experiences of the survivors, the hibakusha, to convey the profound impact of nuclear warfare on individuals and communities. Through museums, peace parks, and educational activities, visitors and students engage with the material in a way that encourages empathy, understanding, and a deep desire for peace. Schools in both cities incorporate peace studies into their curricula, inviting survivors to share their stories with students. These first-hand accounts bring history to life, making the abstract horror of nuclear warfare concrete and personal. Students learn not only about the physical effects of the bombings, but also about the long-term consequences on health, the environment, and societal structures. Global reach. The message of peace from Hiroshima and Nagasaki has extended far beyond Japan's borders. International peace education programs draw on the experiences of these cities to advocate for disarmament and peace-building worldwide. Exchange programs allow students from various countries to visit Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where they can see the effects of the bombings for themselves and participate in peace-related activities. These experiences foster a sense of global citizenship and a shared responsibility to prevent future conflicts. Digital platforms and online resources have made the lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki accessible to a global audience. Virtual tours, survivor testimonies, and interactive educational materials provide opportunities for people around the world to learn from these cities' experiences, even if they cannot visit in person. Symbols of hope. Hiroshima and Nagasaki stand as powerful symbols of hope, demonstrating humanity's capacity for recovery and the possibility of reconciliation. The peace memorials in both cities are not only reminders of the past, but also monuments to the future. They symbolize the commitment of the survivors and their communities to peace, a testament to the idea that out of tragedy can come a profound and lasting commitment to ensuring such events never happen again. The annual peace memorial ceremonies in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, attended by people from around the globe, reinforce this message. They are moments of reflection, remembrance, and renewal, where the commitment to peace is reaffirmed. These ceremonies, along with the release of paper lanterns and the ringing of the peace bell, are rituals that underscore the collective desire for a world without nuclear weapons. The role of individuals. An important lesson of peace education is the power of individual actions. The stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki teach that everyone has a role in promoting peace, whether through advocacy, education, or simply by choosing to live in a way that respects and values others. This message empowers people to make positive changes in their communities and beyond, contributing to a culture of peace. Looking forward. As we look to the future, the message of peace from Hiroshima and Nagasaki remains as relevant as ever. In a world where conflict and division often dominate headlines, the need for peace education and the promotion of understanding and cooperation cannot be overstated. The experiences of these cities remind us of the devastating consequences of war and the importance of working together to build a peaceful future. Chapter 15. The Survivor's Legacy. In the shadow of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the survivors, known as hibakusha, carry a profound legacy. Their lives, forever altered by the events of August 1945, have become beacons of hope and change. Among them are individuals who, despite their suffering, chose to transform their pain into a force for peace and nuclear disarmament. Their stories are not just tales of survival, but of a deep commitment to creating a better world. The teacher who taught peace. One such survivor from Hiroshima was a young teacher at the time of the bombing. The devastation she witnessed inspired her to dedicate her life to peace education. For decades, she visited schools around the world, sharing her story and the lessons she learned about the preciousness of peace. Her message was simple yet powerful. Peace begins with understanding and respect. Through her efforts, she inspired countless students to become advocates for peace, showing them the power of empathy and education in healing and change. The artist who painted for peace. In Nagasaki, an artist who lost his family in the bombing channeled his grief into his art. His paintings, depicting the horrors of nuclear war and the beauty of human compassion, have been exhibited globally. Each piece serves as a reminder of the human cost of conflict and the enduring strength of hope. He became a vocal advocate for the abolition of nuclear weapons, using his art to communicate a universal message of peace. His work continues to inspire those who see it, bridging language and cultural barriers with the universal language of art. The doctor who healed beyond borders. Another survivor, a doctor, witnessed the immediate aftermath of the bombing in Hiroshima and dedicated his life to treating those affected by radiation. Recognizing the global threat posed by nuclear weapons, he became an outspoken advocate for disarmament and medical preparedness for nuclear accidents. He worked with international organizations to raise awareness about the medical consequences of nuclear war, advocating for a world where such weapons are never used again. His commitment to healing extended beyond his patients, aiming to heal the world of its nuclear threat. The voice that echoed around the world. Among the survivors was a woman whose voice became synonymous with the call for nuclear disarmament. Having lost her family and suffered severe injuries in Hiroshima, she found solace in sharing her story. Her speeches at the United Nations and other international forums were powerful calls to action, urging world leaders to work towards a world without nuclear weapons. Her story and her insistence on hope inspired movements for peace across the globe. She stood as a living testament to the cost of nuclear warfare and the urgent need for disarmament. The legacy they leave. The Hibakusha, through their activism, have left an indelible mark on the world. Their stories, marked by unimaginable loss and incredible resilience, continue to inspire a new generation of peace activists. They remind us that out of the deepest despair can come the greatest hope. Their lives are a call to action, not just to remember the past, but to shape a future free from the threat of nuclear war. The legacy of these survivors teaches us that everyone has the power to make a difference. They show that activism can take many forms, from teaching and storytelling to art and direct advocacy. Their message is clear. Peace is possible, but it requires the commitment and action of individuals and communities around the world. Chapter 16. Visiting the Cities Today. Today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki stand as vibrant cities, their streets and parks bustling with life. Far removed from the images of devastation that once defined them, these cities have been reborn as symbols of resilience and peace. Visitors to Hiroshima and Nagasaki are greeted not by remnants of destruction, but by thriving communities that have woven the lessons of their past into the very fabric of their present. Hiroshima, the city of peace. In Hiroshima, the Peace Memorial Park is a sprawling expanse of green in the heart of the city, serving as a central point of reflection and learning. The Genbaku Dome, with its exposed skeleton, stands as a stark reminder of the atomic bomb's power. Yet, surrounding it, the city pulses with energy. Modern buildings and bustling streets showcase Hiroshima's recovery and determination to move forward while never forgetting its past. The Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, located within the park, offers a profound educational experience, detailing the events of August 6, 1945, and promoting a message of peace and disarmament. The museum, alongside the Children's Peace Monument and the countless other memorials within the park, draws visitors from around the world, united in their desire to understand and to remember. But Hiroshima is not defined solely by its memorials. The city is alive with culture, from its vibrant food scene to its beautiful natural surroundings. The rebuilt Hiroshima Castle and the Shukai-en Garden offer glimpses into Japan's rich history and the resilience of its people. Nagasaki, a beacon of hope. Nagasaki too tells a story of remarkable transformation. The Nagasaki Peace Park, with its iconic peace statue, invites contemplation and hope. The park, alongside the Nagasaki Atomic Bomb Museum, provides a powerful insight into the impact of the atomic bombing and the city's journey towards recovery. Yet, like Hiroshima, Nagasaki's spirit is seen in its revival and vitality. The city's beautiful landscapes, such as the Glover Garden and the Mount Inasa viewpoint, offer peaceful retreats that contrast with the bustling life of the city center. Nagasaki's unique history as a melting pot of cultures is reflected in its architecture, festivals, and cuisine, contributing to a rich cultural tapestry that enchants visitors. Living memorials to peace. Both Hiroshima and Nagasaki serve as living memorials to peace. They are not static relics of the past, but dynamic cities that look to the future while honoring their history. The annual peace ceremonies in both cities, attended by people from around the globe, are testament to their ongoing commitment to peace and disarmament. These cities have also become centers for peace education, hosting conferences, workshops, and youth programs that engage the global community in discussions about peace, conflict resolution, and the abolition of nuclear weapons. Hiroshima and Nagasaki have taken on the responsibility of sharing their stories, not to incite bitterness, but to ensure that the atrocities of nuclear warfare are never repeated. A message to the world. Visiting Hiroshima and Nagasaki today offers a unique experience that merges the past with the present. These cities remind us of the horrors of war, the potential for humanity to recover from its greatest tragedies, and the importance of striving for a peaceful future. They stand as testaments to what can be lost in moments of conflict, but also to what can be gained through unity, resilience, and a shared commitment to peace. Chapter 17. Conclusion. Towards a Peaceful Future. As we close the chapters on the stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we are left with profound lessons and a message of hope. The journey through the past, exploring the depths of human suffering and the heights of resilience, brings us to a crucial crossroads. Here, we must choose the path towards a peaceful and compassionate future, learning from history to ensure that the tragedies of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are never repeated. Learning from the past. The first step towards building a peaceful future is to remember and learn from the past. The stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki teach us about the consequences of war, especially the devastating impact of nuclear weapons. They remind us of the preciousness of human life and the importance of protecting it at all costs. Through education and remembrance, we honor the victims and survivors of the atomic bombings, ensuring that their experiences are not forgotten. Schools, museums, and peace parks in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as educational programs around the world, play a crucial role in this mission, fostering a global culture of peace and understanding. Embracing compassion and understanding. The path towards a peaceful future is paved with compassion and understanding. The stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki show us the strength of the human spirit and the capacity for forgiveness and reconciliation. By embracing empathy, we can overcome differences, resolve conflicts peacefully, and build bridges between communities and nations. Compassion also means advocating for those who suffer and working to alleviate their pain. The Hibakusha, with their tireless efforts for peace and nuclear disarmament, exemplify this commitment. Their activism inspires us to take action, to raise our voices for peace, and to support initiatives that promote the well-being of all. Working together for peace. Creating a peaceful future is a collective endeavor that requires the participation of individuals, communities, and nations. It calls for a commitment to dialogue, cooperation, and mutual respect. By working together, we can address the root causes of conflict, build inclusive societies, and develop policies that prioritize peace and security for everyone. The global response to the atomic bombings, including the movements for nuclear disarmament and peace education, shows the power of collective action. These efforts must continue, with each generation contributing to the cause of peace in their unique way. A future built on hope. As we look to the future, let us be guided by hope. Hope not as a passive wish, but as a powerful force that motivates us to work for change. The rebirth of Hiroshima and Nagasaki from the ashes of destruction is a testament to the possibility of renewal and transformation. It shows that, even in the aftermath of great tragedy, there is potential for growth, healing, and the creation of something beautiful. Our hope for a peaceful future is also rooted in the resilience and courage of those who have faced the horrors of war and chosen the path of peace. Their stories inspire us to believe in the possibility of a world where conflicts are resolved without violence, where diversity is celebrated, and where compassion guides our actions. A call to action. As we conclude our journey through the stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, let us carry forward the lessons learned. Let us commit to being advocates for peace in our daily lives, whether through educating others, supporting peace initiatives, or simply choosing kindness and understanding in our interactions. The path towards a peaceful future is one we must walk together, drawing on the strength of our shared humanity and the lessons of the past. It is a path filled with challenges, but also with immense potential for creating a more compassionate and peaceful world.